Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is REGANELITE. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 70 of the Snowflake Viewpoint. The date and time is the 9th of September 2024 at 8 p.m. UK time. We are dual streaming live on YouTube, youtube.com/REGANELITE, and on twitch.tv/REGANELITE1, where we cover some of the latest news that is happening in the UK. I didn't realize we've done 70 episodes of the Snowflake Viewpoint, guys. That's crazy. 70. We are literally 30 live streams away from 100 live streams of this show, guys. It's absolutely insane. Can't believe it. I've been doing this for more than a year and a half actually now. Actually several months away. It'll be in about four or 5 months time. It will be 2 years. It's quite crazy that I've already done past more than a year and a half of this channel, which is quite extraordinary to say the least, guys. But I hope you guys all had a great weekend. We've got a very busy week ahead of us. So not only is there stuff to talk about the Green Party conference, there's obviously the debate that's happening Tuesday at 2 a.m. Our time here, but obviously I will cover it on the Snowflake Watch, and that is the first presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Obviously that's going to be huge, so I will need to cover that as well. So we've got that story going on. We obviously got tomorrow's vote on the winter fuel allowance. Obviously Max will cover that and look that very closely indeed, I imagine, tomorrow evening. So that's going to be a very interesting live stream. I have the Snowflake chat with Terry Regan as well. We also got another Prime Minister's questions this week. So there's a lot going on this week, guys. A lot on this channel and a lot going on in politics, that's for sure. So there's plenty to cover. Just I'll remind you guys, and I'll remind you late as we progress, guys, that tomorrow I will be doing. I'm kind of testing this. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing the Snowflake's Corner, but I'm going to be doing it at 1 p.m. instead of doing it at 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening. So I'm going to do it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I want to see, just want to see how it goes. So obviously, I understand, everybody has work and whatnot, so not everybody can come. But if you guys got nothing planned Tuesday afternoon, or if you happen to be on your lunch break at 1 o'clock, feel free to come in and say hello. I'll be covering some world news there, and we'll finish off with some funny memes and all that kind of jazz, guys. I don't know if I'll keep it at 1 o'clock. I might even push it back to 12 o'clock. But if you guys got nothing planned Tuesday afternoon, you guys want to hang out with me and I'll cover stories from around the world, feel free to come and do so, guys. There. So who have we got in the chats today? So nobody on Twitch at the moment. Stephen Banker is here. Good to see you, Stephen. Saw you earlier on the 2 Davies live stream. Hope you're doing well. Jao is here as well. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. David Gerardo is here. Good to see you, buddy. Saw you on the Morning Brew as well. Hope you're doing well. Mad Monk is here, moderating as always. Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Saw you earlier as well. Reg is here. Good to see you, Reg. Hope you're doing well. Parade O'Brien, good to see you there. Hello from Ireland here. How you all doing today, lads? We're doing very well. Hope you're having a good weekend. I do miss going to Ireland. I miss the days of going to Ireland. I will go back there someday. I promise I will. Yeah, I have lots of wonderful memories of Ireland. All right, so let's dive straight into it, guys. So the first topic, obviously, of course, how can I not cover it? Tomorrow is obviously the big story, is obviously on the winter fuel payments. So this one from Sky News: so ministers will not soften the blow for the pensioners. For pensioners who are no longer receiving the winter fuel payments, Number 10 has said. So a growing number of MPs, including Labour unions and charities, have spoken out against the decision to limit winter fuel payments to those on pension credit. So as we'll read into this, guys, so they did. Keir Starmer had a meeting this morning, Monday morning, about this situation. And they basically decided they're not going to change anything. They're not going to change anything. They're not going to make it easier. They're not going to listen to other things. Nope, they're going to stick to this plan. They're going to cut winter fuel payments. Even though I've said this before on live streams, guys, and I've said this again, there was a big stack of money called wealth. The wealthiest people in society, where you can easily generate some money with either a one-off payment or grosser, or some money, or maybe a 1% tax on something from the rich and the wealthy. But no, instead, we're just going to punish pensioners. Now, yes, I've said this, and I do recommend checking out Big Madge's video. He's done a good 30-minute video on this as well. Do check out his video on it. It's very good stuff as well. He covered this extensively on his live stream as well yesterday as well. So do check out Big Madge if you get a chance as well. But there's no need for this. This does not need to be. People try to say that this should be means tested, and that there are people on the winter fuel payments that don't need the winter fuel payment. And you're right if you say that. Excuse me. You're absolutely right if you say to me here in the chat, if you say to me that, Regan, some people don't need it because they're rich and wealthy, they don't need that additional money. Absolutely not going to argue with you with that. However, we're talking about those who need it, those who could potentially die from it. Yeah? And I think, everyone will agree with me that no one should have to suffer. No one should have to die needlessly, unnecessarily. And believe me, and I'm not just doing this from a political standpoint. Here, I'm talking about this from a moral standpoint as well, because there is a moral point to this, and that is that people will die this winter. Unfortunately, people will die this winter, but more people will die as a result of this decision by the government. That is the reality, and I know I don't want to politicize the point of people dying, but from a political point of view, the likes of the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, the Express, or the GB News and all that, the moment a pensioner dies as a direct result of this decision of no longer receiving the winter fuel payments, it will be front page news all over the UK. And they will literally splash the headline, Labour kills pensioner. And they will not be able to debunk this in any way, shape or form, because they would have been warned. Yeah. And we know that Conservatives have literally killed pensioners as a result of the decisions that they have made. But the difference was that the media was covering their backsides. Media will not cover Labour here. So they are going to really damage themselves. Now, of course, yes, another argument people will make, but it is early days in this Labour government, and they're probably doing bad policies now. They could do it later. Yeah, sure, you can make that argument. But again, for me, this does not need to be happen. I think it should be left as it is. I don't think here we should be means testing it, because also there's a cost to means testing it as well. Because you have to. There comes a cost here to means testing it as well. So there's that on top of it as well. It is just not necessary in my opinion. Mark Wilkie, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I hope I haven't missed anybody else here. Jao says, why not do it? We do like it in Portugal and Spain, where these types of payments are done through social services, applying lower tariffs to pensioners to reducing income. Says Jao. Well, we don't have the same systems as you guys, and the thing is that I don't want people to die as a result of it. My position is that there will be people dying as a direct result of this change. Stephen Banker says it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. This don't need it. Nonsense. Every pensioner has paid in all their lives. Just give it to every pensioner. Yeah. Like, I'm not thinking about this from a voter point of view. I'm thinking about this from a moral point of view by the point that people could die as a result of this. Stephen Moran, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. So let's read into this, you guys. So, ministers are not looking to soften the blow for 10 million pensioners who will no longer receive the winter fuel payment, the Prime Minister's spokesperson has said. Now, again, I have to stress, some of them do not need this payment. I do have to stress that. Ahead of a vote on Tuesday on the controversial decision to limit winter fuel payments to those on pension credit, the government is... Excuse me, I'm still recovering from my throat infection of a few weeks back, guys, in case you're wondering. The government is remaining steadfast despite growing opposition from Labour MPs, unions and charities. Up until now, all pensioners received the payments to help with higher energy bills over the winter. Following a cabinet meeting on Monday, Sir Keir Starmer's spokesperson asked if ministers discussed softening the impact for pensioners no longer eligible. Not at all, he said. They basically said, no, we're going to do this regardless. The cabinet are in agreement that we need to fix the foundations of our economy. Yes, but there are other ways of raising this money, and this does not need to be one of them. There are people on the state that pays their energy bills for an extensive period of time, cheaper than complicated systems. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, the thing is, I just think this for me at the moment. I just think, considering the cost of living crisis, considering the suffering that people are going through, this is not the right time for it. I do think there should be there may be down the line when we're out of a cost of living crisis. Then if we weren't in a cost of living crisis, Joe, I'd probably be a bit more reluctant to say, yeah, let's introduce a means system. I would probably be more reluctant to it. But given the situation right now, I'm not prepared to agree with that. All pensioners are asset rich but cash poor, says Stephen Bond. Good to see you, Simon says. Hope you're 55. And Casper Day, I've just seen you lurking in. Hope you guys are doing well. The Cabinet are in agreement that we need to fix the foundations of our economy. This is the mandate that has been asked for by the country to deliver. No one is debating that this needs to be done. He said that the government is committed to supporting pensioners, although the pensioners triple lock, which ensures state pension rise every April by whatever is high out 2.5 inflation rate or average earnings. Spokesperson also said that pensions are going up because of this, while energy bills are going down. But they're not going they're not going down enough at the moment. That's my issue. There's been a 115% increase in people applying for pension credit in the 5 weeks since the government announced the winter fuel payment cut, he added. That's a good sign. At least there's more people applying for pension credit. A total of 38,500 pension credit claims have been made since the announcement on the 29th of July. It's also important to stress that not everyone can get the pension credit. Not everyone can get it. Yes, there are people who have been claiming it, and it's good to see that there's been an increase, but not everyone can get the credit. He maintained what Keir Starmer has repeatedly said since the decision, that it is not a decision you want to make, but the government has to make tough choices to fix the economy's foundation. A campaign to get people to sign up to pension credit, if they are eligible, is ongoing, and people have been asked to check their eligibility. Sir Keir's spokesperson has said. After the PM has accepted that some people could die this winter because they cannot pay for the heating as they are no longer eligible. A spokesperson said there is a range of support for those struggling this winter, and the government is focusing on ensuring people have access to that support. Would you like to put that? Would you like to widen that? Would you like to be more open about that, spokesperson? You know, what other options do they have apart from getting on a bus and sitting on the bus because it's warmer than their house, for example? Minister Louise Haigh later on Monday excused the government for giving pay rises to several groups of public sector workers while cutting the winter fuel payment. She said it's the only way to ensure public service run properly, to reduce the cost of living burden and get the economy growing again. I know the media are tying this into the public sector pay rises and the pays for public workers, but I'm sure most of you will agree with me that given that that public sector workers haven't had a pay rise for a very long time, that is really needed. I just think that the timing of that and the timing of this winter fuel payment paints a very, very bad picture for Labour, and unfortunately they do deserve a kicking over this. And she warned ahead of the budget there will be more difficult spending decisions, but it is a terrible economic situation that we've inherited, and we're really, really angry about that. Yeah, we all know that, but there is also political decisions here, and we know that Labour are going to make tough decisions. We know we're going to make unhappy decisions. What I don't want is them making decisions that could just deeply affect people, that could potentially kill people. And that's the gripe that I have with this policy, because this could potentially kill people. Or I go one step further, it will kill people as a result of direct action from this. Because there are a lot of single pensioners living in their homes who will not know where to get that support. There will be some people in that situation where they will have to turn off their heating and could inevitably die as a result. So this is that for me is, I want to prevent any kind of loss of life if possible. That's my position on this. Part of me understands, but part of me is on the premise of, look, we know Labour have to make difficult decisions, but not at the expense of people's lives. There's no two ways about it, but that's the context that we've inherited, and the previous government was spending money like it was going out of fashion. It is understood about 30 Labour MPs are unhappy with the decision to cut winter fuel payments from the 16th of September. However, they are expected to abstain rather than vote against the government tomorrow after Keir suspended 7 Labour MPs for doing so in July. Yeah, I fully expect most Labour MPs to abstain rather than vote against. It is a 3-line whip for the is my understanding. I'm like Big Marge. I think the 3-line whip is completely unnecessary. I just I just think it did not need to be this harsh on, There were actually, I've seen reports of some MPs I've literally cried about this because it is so damaging to their reputation as a result of having to of being stuck in this situation. I don't know if abstaining is still going to allow them to keep on as a Labour MP. I don't know if it will. It will be extremely brutal if they abstained and then they took away the whips from them. It would be extremely brutal. But the government could afford to do that given how many MPs they have. So Keir would not say if he would again suspend MPs for voting against the government, telling the BBC on Sunday that will be a matter for the chief whip. Yeah, so he's basically, if you vote against it, you will lose the whip. I'm 99% sure you will lose the whip. What I don't know is will they lose the whip if they abstain. Prime Minister will address a TUC conference on Tuesday where he's set to be questioned about the Winterfield payment cuts and workers' rights. Yeah, he's going to get so many questions on that. Sharon Graham, head of Unite, the largest trade unions, called for Sir Keir to U-turn on the policy and said the public cannot understand why Labour government has chosen to pick the pocket of pensioners while leaving the richest totally untouched. And this is it. Yes, I've covered this in a video on our Patreon. On the Patreon, I think it's dropping tomorrow or Wednesday, one of those days during the week. So, but I will just say on this, Sharon's absolutely bang on the money. Why are we doing this to the pensioners and why are we not doing this to the rich? I mean, it's just, like I said, there's a massive pot of money right in front of this government to pick up, and it's called from the rich and the wealthy. You're not going to drive too many away, but no, we can't do that for some reason, guys. Absolutely ridiculous, to say the least. Just have a quick look, see what you guys are saying in the chat. We had a whole here weekend where I am, says Mark Wilkie. Was thinking I lived in a house with no central heating for most of my life, says Mark Wilkie. Well, in all seriousness, I hope you and everyone here stays warm this winter in some way, shape, or fashion. Stephen Warren says, I just can't understand why they're set on this when the amount of money involved is so small, only 1.2 billion, says Steve. Yeah, this is the other thing as well. It is it's to raise money is the argument they make to them, but I'm there's still a lot. I listen very deeply to some of the experts and whatnot, and some of the bigger YouTubers, and they can't see the grasp the decision why Labour are doing this as well. That's good to hear, Bark. Hope everyone's good with you. Got a sunny weekend, Casper says. Oh, that's lovely. Nice to hear. Yeah, I think we had a bit of rain here today. Well, I was. Summer's just proving that there's no chance with Labour. That line, you have been warned, it's happening, says Stephen Banker. It definitely appears that way, doesn't it? Definitely seems to appear that way. Right, let's move away from it. Obviously, I'm sure there'll be more to discuss about it as after the vote will be made. I probably will cover if I have time on Wednesday, I'll cover a little bit on the Wednesday live stream, but I may even do a video on it later in the week on it. But let's move away from it. I've got a small story here. I've talked about this bus services before, guys, but I wanted to just grasp on this one here from The Guardian. Is that Labour to give English local authorities the power to run their bus services plan will be put before MPs on Monday. They're extending the right to all councils to set routes and timetables. So just a bit. I've read this already, but we'll read it in just a moment. But what I do like is that they won't need to obviously run a lot of things through Parliament, the councils, in order to do. Sorry, the local authorities to be able to do what they want to do with the bus service, which I think is really, really good. We need to. One of my biggest gripes has been over the last 14 years is obviously the running down of local buses. We need to get buses running in pretty much as many places as possible. For me, I would rather you'd have more bus routes, and then more bus routes if it means that people have to wait longer for a bus. Like if they miss one and they've got to wait an hour or more for a bus, then so be it. rather than not having that route available at all. We always want to encourage more people off their cars if possible. We always want to encourage more people on public transport. Yes, I'm fully aware that public transport, especially trains, are very expensive. I'm fully aware of that, guys. But we always want to try and do as much as we possibly can to get people onto buses. And while, of course, another argument will be, of course, well, there's a little problem that councils are struggling with money, and you're absolutely right. I'm not debating that. That is a problem that councils are facing up and down in England in particular, and that does need to be addressed. But this is, again, devolving more the powers from Westminster to local authorities on this. I do think is a very important one. So local transport authorities across England will be able to run and control bus services under a Labour overhaul designed to save vital routes. Parliament will hear on Monday, so they would have already had this already. The Transport Secretary, Louise Haigh, said the bus revolution would empower local communities as the government prepares formalities to announce measures to make services more reliable. Buses in England outside London were privatised and deregulated by law in the 1980s. I wonder who did that. Before limiting powers were given to metro mayors as part of devolution, allowing them to set routes and timetables. The statutory instrument will be laid before Parliament on Monday today to extend the same rights throughout England. Consultation will also be launched to speed up and simplify the franchising process. It took the Mayor of Greater Manchester, Andy Burnham, more than 5 years to introduce franchise bus service as part of the city's B network. Yeah. Andy Burnham had to go through absolute goddamn hell with the Conservatives to get it, but he finally got it in the end. But my God, did he have to go through hell to get it. The Department of Transport said measures would be brought via a bus bill announced in the King's Speech to reduce the cost of franchising. Will also reverse the Margaret Thatcher era ban on council settings, set up new and multiple bus companies. It will allow them to own as well as run services. Haigh said buses are the lifeblood of our communities, but for too many people it's become impossible to rely on local services as routes have been slashed and timetables hollowed out. Today is the first stop on our journey to delivering better buses across the country. After decades of failed deregulation, local leaders will finally have the powers to provide services that deliver for passengers. Our bus revolution will save vital routes up and down the country and put passengers first. This is the thing. I would, like I've said, a lot of routes, especially in rural communities where if there's some people who can't drive or they don't have a relative to take them where they need to be and they don't have that vital bus service running for them, or is at risk of going because of councils, this could make a difference. Yes, of course, as I've said earlier, money is obviously going to be tight, but this will help. The total distance travelled each year by buses in England has fallen by nearly 300 miles since 2010, according to the Department for Transport. The Urban Transport Group, which represents 7 major cities' transport authorities, said it welcomed the pace at which government is moving on its plans. Labour mayors in combined authorities, including Liverpool and West Yorkshire, have indicated they will follow Greater Manchester in franchising buses. The B network passenger numbers have grown by 5% since franchise routes launched a year ago. Well, there you go. 5% may not seem like much, but the fact that not to say 5 more people was there, but still 5% is still a good positive number, and obviously it's about continuously pushing that. And as long as the Mayor of Manchester and the city continues to push that, get more people on the buses, less people in cars. If they're able to save money, it's all the better. Haigh was due to take a bus ride in Peterborough to discuss the proposals with local politicians, including the Mayor of Cambridgeshire and Peterborough and Nick Johnson, who described them as a much-needed change. The Local Government Association said the proposed measures recognise the fundamental role of local leadership in shaping future bus provisions and were a step towards helping to restore public faith in local bus networks. The Campaign for Better Transport Policy Director Sylvia Barrett said, whilst franchising may not be suitable for all areas, everyone should have access to a quality bus service without a risk of being cut, which is why we are also calling for a minimum service level guarantee and long-term ring-fence funding for all local authorities. Now, as much as I would love to have this, and I would love a service level guarantee and a ring-fence funding, I can't see Labour ever introducing it. They maybe if the finances were in a better state, maybe. But I would really like that. I would really like that to be ring-fenced. But as of right now, I can't see that happening. Can I see this happening in the future and a future possible Labour government? when finances are a lot better? Maybe, but I do think that's one that they're going to have to keep battling for quite a while. The DfT said the bus bill will also include steps to improve accessible travel and provide greater flexibility over bus funding to end the postcode lottery and bring better services for communities, whether or not local leaders choose to pursue franchising. The Conservatives said the government's plans were unfunded and would not increase bus services. Helen Whitley, the Shadow Transport Secretary, said they need to explain where local authorities will raise council tax or make cuts to vital services for social care to fund this. Well, Helen, if there wasn't a political party in the last 14 years that probably didn't cut so much of the funding from councils, maybe the buses wouldn't be in the situation that they are in. However, she does also make a valid point, especially if they're going to be taken back into public hands, where the money is for that is going to where the money is going to come from. That is an argument that I do agree with, to be fair. But for me, it's not really about. For me, it's about the bus networks outside of London. For me, it's all about making sure that they are. I mean, there are many towns that are doing well, but I'm more concerned about the villages, the rural communities, the ones that don't have any buses or some bus services. Ensuring that they are running so that people, like I said, people who can't drive, people who need that bus service to get from A to B. It's still very, very important. We need to protect them. There needs to be safeguards in place, in my opinion, for them. To see what you guys saying in the chat. I lived in Edinburgh in the past, and Loughran buses were great. Yeah, I'm sure buses in Scotland are a lot better than in England. I'm pretty sure the Scots will say that. Madmonk 33 from Scotland says, Steve and I have no complaints about bus services in Glasgow. I can get to the east end of Glasgow to the city centre within 30 minutes, and we have 3 services that run in my area, including the 900. Jal says, the worst thing Portugal did was to privatise a lot of public transportation. They should have kept control of the major routes. At least they now have reopening routes in those multi-bilateral routes. And we end up paying in with our taxes for the routes the private sector does not want, says Jal. That's frustrating. Admittedly, the buses in Glasgow are much more cleaner and the services run well. It's always, what I really like is going on a bus or a train that's clean. Whenever I've been on the Elizabeth line, I just feel it's just because it's so new. It's so new. It's just incredible. But I do think like the Elizabeth line, as great as it is, I do think that it doesn't. To me, it's not something that was needed. If I'm honest, looking back on it, but I do love going on the Elizabeth line and you can feel how clean it is. And where all the funding for these buses come from, says Xiao. Yeah, that's exactly the point. That's exactly the point that Helen made at the end of the piece there. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. The way local authorities are buckling, they can really take charge of public transport. This is just passing the buck. That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah, the government can say it's not our fault if the public buses fail. That's your guys' fault. Well, you didn't give them the money either, so that's a very good argument point there Stephen Banker made. That's a very good point there. Thanks for your comments, guys. One more before we head for a little break in between to recover my voice. This is an interesting one. Now, now you can say, now you can take one person's side or you can take the other, because this is really, really he said, she said stuff on this. So this is a piece from The Independent here. So Neil Kinnock thought Black MPs were an embarrassment. This is the claims that Diane Abbott made in a memoir. In her book, A Woman Like Me, the MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington is deeply critical of Lord Kinnock's leadership. So Diane Abbott is making claims about Neil Kinnock as a racist of some kind. I haven't read the book. I don't know if anyone here has read her book, but these are just some of the pieces that has been mentioned in the book. This is quite strong, to say the least. So I'll just say it right now before we read it, because I have read it, guys. Neil Kinnock has denied all this, denied this claims from Diane Abbott. He has denied this. So this is Yeah, this is not good for Neil if this is true. But unfortunately, it's a bit of tit for tat, I would have to say. But there's more. There's a little bit more to this actually in there. So let's read into this. Hopefully the ads will not jump all over me, guys, with this, because that's what the Independent does. So Diane Abbott has claimed that the former Labour MP Neil Kinnock viewed his black MPs as an embarrassment. Miss Abbott, who is the longest serving black member of Parliament, was elected alongside 3 other black MPs, Labour MPs, in 1987. In her book, A Woman Like Me, the MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington is deeply critical of Lord Kinnock's leadership, accusing him of dismissing the concerns of black people. Recalling her experience after being elected, Miss Abbott said she and her fellow black Labour MPs felt they were not allowed to bask in the glory of our achievement, as both the party leadership and official did not see it as a triumph and noticeably did not celebrate it as such. She added that Kinnock thought of his black MPs as an embarrassment. We were the embodiment of the loony left, and this was precisely the image he was trying to get away from. Remember, guys, this is what she is stating. So I want to stress, do take what she is saying with a pinch of salt. Again, he does deny this. This is, I would call this allegations that she is making, claims that she's making in her book. Okay? And Diane Abbott has not exactly been the perfect MP as well, as you guys know, if we've been paying attention to her history. So Lord Kinnock has strongly denied the allegations and told The Independent that he was delighted and certainly not embarrassed at the election of 4 black MPs to Parliament. And he pointed to his Labour conference speech in 1987, which saw him celebrate their election in what he saw as the beginning of a multiracial Parliament to reflect our multiracial society. Miss Abbott, the daughter of Jamaican parents who were part of the Windrush generation, also said that Lord Kinnock pushed back against the creation of a black sections, a movement designed to empower black members in the Labour Party. This is some big claims that she is making in her book. Some really big claims. They seem reasonable enough demands, yet the Labour Party leadership thought that black sections were completely unreasonable, not to mention dangerous, she wrote. If she has some evidence for this, she should publish it. Miss Abbott claims that when her and her fellow MPs tried to table a black sections resolution at the Labour Party conference that year, they were roundly denounced by the great and the good from the conference platform. Now, if now I don't know if what she's claiming is true, but if what she's claiming in the book here and what she's saying allegedly in the book is true, if I'm the media, especially if you're like the Daily Mail, the GB News and whatnots who want to jump on Labour, you know what I would do on this story? I would get in contact with try and get in contact with the other Labour MPs who became MPs at that time to verify what Diane Abbott is saying here is true. And if they publicly say that what Diane Abbott is claiming in the book is to be true, this might make it a bit more plausible. It is he is at the moment it's she's saying this, he's saying this he didn't say this. So this is the I really want to stress that. And she continued, Neil Kinnock was particularly opposed to the Labour Party's black section, which seemed to him like dangerous racialism. Racialism? I can't say that word. He appeared to think that this occasional expression of concern for black people far away, such as campaigners against apartheid in South Africa, meant that he could dismiss the concerns of black people on his doorstep. But Lord Kinnock denied that his opposition to the movement came because of concerns over dangerous radicalism. Instead, he said it arose from concerns that imperial racial segregation in the Labour Party would have been marginalised and regressive, something he claims he had made clear to Miss Abbott at the time. So he's claiming that it's nothing to do with he didn't want to marginalise them from the rest of the Labour Party. That's his argument to it. He added, "My views were similar to those of comrades in the anti-apartheid movement and several non-white parties and trade union members. All of us had rather more than occasional concerns for black people far away, as our lifetime record of anti-racist pro-equality activity demonstrates." Lord Kinnock also claimed that some of those who favoured black sections did so for opportunistic and sectarian purposes, adding that they were from the loony left. They inflicted serious harm on the Labour Party in London and elsewhere. To safeguard that and to reinforce efforts to attract and retain people from ethnic minorities, I established an ethnic minority officer in the party's headquarters in order to ensure guarantees and inputs in Labour's policies and operations. Lord Kinnock also noted that at the 1990 Labour conference, the party established a Labour Party Black Socialist Society, something he said came about with his advocacy and support. The society became operational in 1993 and its successor organisation became the BME Labour. Miss Abbott has also criticised Labour for blocking the candidacy of Martha Osmar ahead of the 1989 Vauxhall by-election. She claimed that the Labour Party did not bother to give her a serious reason for blocking her candidacy, adding that she was black, female and left-wing was enough. Miss Abbott said she wrote to Lord Kinnock, who was leader of the Labour Party from 1983 to 1992, to lobby on Miss Osmar's behalf. Recounting the correspondence, Miss Abbott said, "He wrote to us saying, I'm sure that you will see the NE shortlist for Vauxhall as reflecting a serious commitment to have a candidate who will be in tune with the electors. There is no doubt that a candidate in tune with the electors can mean someone white." Well, he didn't say that. That's what you're alleging again. But Lord Kinnock said that skin colour of the candidate was not relevant in that or any other case, saying the decision not to select Miss Omar was based solely on political alignment. Again, it's hearsay, she say, guys. He said it was vital to trying to ensure that we held the seat after experiencing by-election defeats when candidates could not make a broad appeal had been selected. Mrs. Osmar, who had been migrated to Britain from Nigeria, won the Labour shortlist, but was deselected after being interviewed by a panel of party's ruling National Executive Committee. Instead, Kate Hoey went on to win the seat, was selected as the Labour candidate for Vauxhall. Miss Hoey had only one local nomination compared to Miss Osmar's 8. If I mispronounce the name, I do apologise. But interesting to say the least, that there's a lot of claims that she's making, and there's a lot of rebuttal from Lord Kinnock as well in this piece. Definitely fascinating to say the least. I do recommend reading the piece again yourself if you get a chance, but it's certainly fascinating to say the least. You know, Lord Kinnock is making it very clear in this that he did not have anything against black MPs whatsoever in the House of Parliament or within the party whatsoever. He's making that very clear. And Diane Abbott appears to be really trying to smear him and taking a bit of a swipe at the Labour Party as well there. So, given the track records, I will say, just make what you will of this story, guys. You know, you can take Diane Abbott's side, you could take Lord Kinnock's side. I think, you know, I don't know if there's enough evidence. Like I said if the other black MPs verify some of the things that Diane Abbott has said or allegedly has said, then it could seem more plausible that what she said in her book is more accurate. But we haven't heard from them as far at the time of this live stream. I haven't heard from them. But if someone has in any way, shape or form, then feel free to let me know about it, because I do want to know if so. Because I do think this the timing of this is the timing of this doesn't really matter, I suppose, because of Labour are in power now, so they can they don't need to worry about it. I would say it's more of a nuisance to Keir Starmer and the Labour government at the moment. They don't really want this going on, I would say. But what do you guys think about this in the chat? Let me have a quick look, see what you guys are saying. Stephen Moore says, has to feed the cats and ducks. All cats, make sure you feed the ducks. Very, very important there. One Angry Pagan, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. are you? Only problem is falling asleep. Buses are especially bad in rural areas where they are most needed, says Steve. Yeah, I don't know what buses are like in New Zealand, but I imagine they're probably a bit. I would say they're probably a bit better than they are here in England in particular. Is what I'm probably going to say. All this gossip is demeaning of the political class, says Jao. It does seem like a lot of tit for tat, like I said on it. Public transport in my area is not that bad, while I'm in more urban areas. Instead, it's much worse. It goes from brilliant in large cities to barely unfunctional in rural areas. Yeah, the thing is with rural areas, and it makes, from a money perspective, it makes logical sense that they argue that less buses in rural areas because obviously not many people get on those buses. For me, those buses do need to run, but obviously you can't have them as frequent as you can in cities and towns, obviously. But they need to run to a certain point. They do need to run. So whether it is waiting every hour or every 2 hours or something, I would say as long as there is a bus service in the vital routes that are needed, that's a good thing. Obviously, I would like it to run every 20 minutes, but obviously that can't be done in rural areas because it's just not worth the money, because not enough people will get on that bus. That's the problem, isn't it? It's trying to strike a balance, really. It's just trying to find a balance to it, to be fair. If Miss Abbott can prove, then that's fair enough, but it's just coming across as tit for tat, Steve Banker. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what I thought reading this. And the thing is, I did have a look to see. I haven't seen it in other news outlets. So I don't know if many people have gone into reading it. But it will be interesting if more comes from this as time passes, to be fair. If more comes from it, that's for sure. So guys, I'm going to take a little break because not only do I need to recover my voice for a little bit for you guys, but we're going to take a little funny video here. We've got plenty of stories to come. We'll be talking after this funny video about a bit about the Green Conference and some stories from the Green Party. But just before I hit you with the funny video, if you haven't already, guys, please hit the like button. We greatly appreciate it. Share it across social media so others are notified of this live stream. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing because it really does help support the channel. We're at over 1,700 subscribers, which is a fantastic achievement. Like I said, guys, we are just a few months away from the end of the year. I would like to hit 2,000 subscribers by the end of the year. That is the goal of this channel. So if you haven't subscribed already, please consider subscribing. It doesn't cost anything to do so. I know that there are more than that many people who watch this channel, so please hit the subscribe button. Help me get over that line, guys. It will really make a massive difference. Thank you to everyone who has done so. It is greatly appreciated. So I hope you enjoyed this funny video, guys, from Foil and Arms. It's a new one of theirs that's dropped recently. I only listened to a little bit of it, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one anyway. So let me make sure I zip it right back. So the title of this one is called Main Character Syndrome. Hope you guys enjoy.
Hey, we need to talk.
Oh, sorry, I'm so tired right now.
I think we should break up.
Is this about me?
It's always about you. That's the problem. You've got main character syndrome.
Main character syndrome?
You think the world revolves around you and that you're the main character in everyone's story.
No, I don't. This is my boyfriend, Steve. He can be a bit dramatic.
Like that?
What?
Who are you talking to?
Huh?
I'm trying to say something important here.
Steve was always angry these days, and I couldn't figure out why.
Sorry, can you stop doing that?
Doing what? Yep. That's me, the guy with the goofy grin, and I'm about to lose the only guy who ever cared about me.
This has to stop.
So, it's over then?
Yes.
We'll be right back after this.
There is no after this, Gary.
So you're breaking up with me?
I am.
Next time on The Gary Show.
There is no next time.
Will Steve come crawling back to Gary?
He won't. Okay, I'm leaving, and I'm tired of this Gary show. The Gary Show. That wasn't a suggestion.
He's a really cool guy that you'd love to marry, cause he's everybody's favorite guy called Gary. He's got a really boring boyfriend who's called Steve, and every single day he says...
Who's this, Gary?
You move on quickly.
Yeah, well, I met someone, okay, and he's got supporting character syndrome, so we just clicked.
You can say that again.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab my walk.
I've got a bad feeling about this one, Gary.
And that's when I knew I still had feelings for Steve.
Excuse me?
Here we go again. The Gary Show.
I'm just going to...
Well, our
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, that was a very good one, guys. I'm sure many of you would have gotten those references. The link for that video is in the description. Foil and Arms YouTube channel. This is so weird. What? You don't know the references, channel? Oh, I'm disappointed. To be fair, not everyone's going to get the references, to be fair. But most importantly, guys, I hope you found it funny. That's the most important thing. So, okay then, says One Angry Pagan. Okay, he did not get it. Stephen Manker got it. Mark Wilkie got it. Casper got it. Not everyone got it. But anyway, I hope you guys found that interesting. Anyway, do check out their YouTube channel, guys. They're very close to 1 million subscribers. 988,000 subscribers. So do help. If you're not a subscriber, do subscribe to them. Do great stuff, guys. Right. So, what log am I on? This one. Yeah. Okay, guys. I just in case anyone wonders what I'm chewing on, I'm just taking a locket just to kind of help me with my throat. So I'll try not to slurp while I'm talking, guys. I do apologize, but my voice is still struggling, so I do apologize, guys. So first of two articles we're going to be covering, guys. So the first one here is from the Financial Times. The Green Party's calls for long-term approach to the UK's problems. The new elected MPs pitch themselves as the antidote to Labour's bleakness and despair. So I'm just going to read into this before I give my thoughts, guys. So the Green Party has called for more hope and long optimism in the UK politics as its national conference came to an end in Manchester, pitching itself as the antidote to Labour's bleakness and despair. The new elected MPs for North Hertfordshire, Elias Chowns, criticised the short-termism of Westminster politics and said there needed to be a 10, 20, 30-year plan on the issues on the environment to housing and social care. Now, just right off that bat there, I absolutely 100% agree that 10, 20, 30-year plan. I agree that all those things there that they've put, but you need to have cross-party consensus to get things like to have those kind of plans. You need to have cross-party consensus to have that kind of thing. It does make total sense to do so, but again, it's getting everyone on board. I should also add that one MP who could not make the Green Party conference was Carla Denyer. Apparently she contracted COVID, so she could not go to the conference, which I think it was. The Daily Mail ran a headline like Green Party in chaos because she couldn't go or something, which was like, okay. Well, I think it was them or Telegraph. Someone tried to basically scream and saying the Green Party is in chaos, apparently. I don't know, you figure it out. The political system, she said, does not reward consensus building, resulting in smaller conflicts over policy rather than fostering a culture in which policy makes real change. She and her colleagues, including MPs from Bristol Central and Brighton Pavilion, Carla Denyer and Singh Berry, respectively, are pushing for reform of the voting system from first past the post to proportional representation, which tends to favour smaller parties. They argue this will enable a long-termism in politics. Without this, Charles said the UK would not see any real progressive in improving public service. Yeah, we're all in agreement that we all want proportional representation. Even Reform want proportional representation. There has been some behind-the-scene rumours that some Conservatives are thinking of wanting to push the party towards proportional representation as well. So there's very, very, very rumours there. Obviously, there are those in Labour who obviously want proportional representation too. But it's a question of whether the government and the cabinet actually want it, and whether or not it would be pushed again by the Labour members to push for that proportional representation. Adrian Ramsey, party co-leader, in his speech at the beginning of the weekend, in which members voted on issues from artificial intelligence to backing closer ties to Europe, said that in so many areas Labour is getting it wrong. Ramsey listed nationalising water services, taxing the wealthiest, defending public services and stopping the Rosebank oil field as a key policies in the Green Agenda, and promised to hold the new government to account. There's only so much a holding to account that they can do, to be fair, with their four MPs, but they will try, obviously. But yeah, nationalising water service tax. I actually had someone in the comments. I've got to bring this up, guys. So I had someone in the comments that basically saying that privatising our water service would increase our bills. And now, I mean, like, our water bills would never have gone up the way they would have if they had remained within public hands. And there's a reason why pretty much the vast majority of countries on the planet don't privatise their water, because we need water to survive. It's not that hard. I mean, yeah, I didn't even bother responding to the comment, but someone claiming that nationalising the water service would make things more expensive. I mean, not if you don't. If we take the debt, then yes. But yeah, I'm just not responding to that one. Meanwhile, Deputy Leader Zach Plosky said that although there have been a collective sigh of relief after the end of 14 years of Conservative rule, Labour promised change, but actually what they're offering is bleak. Yeah, it doesn't like they're not offering the things that we want. The Greens are offering a great deal of ambition, and a lot of young people like that ambition. On Sunday, Prime Minister Keir Starmer said that his government was going to have to be unpopular as he defended his position on scrapping Winterfield payments for 10 million pensioners. We've already read all that. Blamed the Conservatives, finances, and The Green Party, which went from 1 to 4 MPs in July's general election, has now more than 800 councillors across the UK, has grown significantly in recent years, and at the mood of the Manchester Conference was optimistic. Membership has grown from 53,000 at the end of 2023 to 59,000. And about 1,000 members, half of them new, attended the conference. That's very good. 59,000. Fantastic achievement for the Greens. Pulaski and Charles have called for Citizens' Assembly on the climate and social care. Charles said the idea of Citizens' Assembly was to bring full representative groups of people together, as MPs were not a representative sample, adding that she was still learning the ropes in Westminster after serving as an MEP in European Parliament. I should add that Labour have looked into Citizens' Assembly. It is very important to stress that. I'm pretty confident that they will push ahead with that. I don't see any reason why Labour would not. They have said they are looking into that. The Greens are keen to change the old perspective of their party as idealistic and unrealistic. Hannah Spencer, a Green councillor in Manchester, said, "The media want to paint us as unrealistic, but we may have to prove time and time again that we are a serious political force." They are definitely making noise. That is for sure. They're definitely making noise, this party. But and I'm pretty sure quite a lot of you guys, I'm sure, like what the Greens are saying, and they are making the right noises. And from what I've heard and what I've watched on the Green Party conference, I was very pleased. You know, I would say that while they know that there's still work to be done. If they want to eventually have some kind of power in a future government or a future coalition, they need to continue to continue to improve and continue to improve the lives of those on the local level and continue to grow those roots. They have taken seats from Conservatives and Labour. They can take more seats. They've finished second, and a lot of MPs, a lot of a lot of those that ran in a lot of places obviously ran second place in a lot of constituencies as well during the general election as well. So there's optimism there. There has been a lot of people who switched from the Greens to Labour. Yes, some of it was down to Gaza as well. I'm not going to deny that Gaza has definitely played a role in giving more voters to them. But there is obviously a continuing progress. But as with our next story I'm about to show, there are still problems within the Green Party. I will come to your comments momentarily, but I do want to share this one. So the Greens have suspended a health spokesperson over trans remarks. So there have been issues in the past with the Greens, and unfortunately there are still issues within the party that are not appearing to go away, guys. Now this was a few days ago, guys, so I just want to stress. The Green Party of England and Wales has suspended its health spokesperson on the eve of its large ever conference for calling reports of rising LGBT hate crimes mischievous. In a general election hustings in June, Pavlovsky, I can't say that surname, she said, has yet to meet anyone who denied a person's right to dress and be addressed as they pleased. Miss Palavitsky told the BBC there is no trans hate in society in general. Are you going to make a comment like that? According to government data, there has been an 11% increase in reported hate crimes against trans people in the year 2022-2023. Shows what you know. The Greens suspended her 2 days before the party's conference got underway in Manchester on Friday. The party has not given any explanation. A spokesperson said it does not comment on individual disciplinary cases. But the BBC has obtained part of documents showing Miss Dilavar Pari was placed on emergency suspension pending a code of conduct investigation. She ran as a Green Party candidate in southwest Norfolk. Speaking at the Hustings event hosted on Friday by Friends of the Earth during the campaign, she was asked to respond to reports on rising LGBT hate crime, as well as her opinion on single-sex spaces where the Green Party stood on the issue. She told the meeting, "I have yet to meet anyone that actually says somebody should not have the right to be addressed as they please and to dress as they please. I think there is something mischievous in the air to make those out to be an issue." She went on to say the confusion arises when people start conflating sex with gender. Biology is a real thing, it is not a belief, she said, calling for the government to adopt a CAS review recommendation on gender care in full. Government data shows 4,722 hate crimes against trans people were recorded in 2022-2023, up from 4,262 in the previous year. Hate crimes against gays, lesbians and bisexual people have fallen 6% in the same period to 25,639. Speaking to the BBC, she claimed her comments reflected her thoughts that hate crime against LGBT people was being politicised and most people weren't aware of the issue. When she said she condemned anti-LGBT plus hate crimes and claimed her suspension was part of a broader Green Party effort to silence dissent. It doesn't appear that way to me. From her comments, it doesn't appear that way. I don't know why she said what she said. Kate Hennington, co-chair of the LGBTQIA plus Greens group, said misconduct at the hustings were just the most recent thing on a long list of things that have made people uncomfortable. Yeah, the thing that triggered me about her was when she said that there's no crime on them. And I'm just like, how the hell do you know that? And it's like literally, there is no trans hate society in general. And literally straight after there's that government data saying 11% increase in reported hate crime against trans people. Like literally right there. Mr. Hatton said he believed Miss Abdullah Pavi was trying to have a debate about trans rights, but had not gone in the right way about it. Well, okay, look, I understand it's a difficult subject to talk about. I get that. I totally understand that. I understand it's a very difficult subject to talk about. It can be very hard to put into words the right way of putting it. But I would say on it, like, if you are generally for LGBT plus people, like I am, don't say something stupid. Be clear and honest about the party's position on it. If you don't know the party's position, read up on it before you do a speech, before you go to somewhere to speak on behalf of the party. Literally, my dad once said to me, there's a line that my dad once said to me, and that is cover your ass. If you don't know how to respond to something and you are a spokesperson on behalf of a political party, that's your fault for not knowing what the party stands on certain positions. I have a very hard time believing her based on those comments you made right at the top of this article, guys. She added that the suspension was an example of Green Party disciplinary system working a little more efficiency. The party's rights and responsibility policy states that trans men are men, trans women are women, and that non-binary identities exist and are valid. The party also supports making it easier for trans people to change their legal status without the need for gender reassignment certificate GRC. but there remains some tension within the membership. The Green Party co-leader Adrian Ramsey has not specifically commented on her and said free speech was a fundamental cornerstone for democracy in the UK and all political parties. He has also denied with gender-critical beliefs, which include those who believe that people cannot change sex, were banned from expressing their views at the Green Party conference. Last week, the Greens launched a review of its disciplinary proceedings to ensure that they align with the law. Yeah, so things are not. There is still these issues within the Green Party, and this is not the first time that we have covered issues around transgender or comments and whatnot. So clear, as I've said before in the past, that while the Green parties and their policies and whatnot are the most appeal to me, there are still problems with the Green Party that are on certain issues that they need to address. And yeah, you know, if, like I said, if you're going to speak here for the party, make sure you know the policies in and out, and be prepared to have those questions. Even if you don't know them off the top of your head, literally have it in a piece of paper next to you, so that you at least got in your mind that you've at least have it in the paper, or literally have it in notes on your phone or something. Just have yourself covered in these situations. I'm not 100% convinced that I'm not 100% convinced with her, if I'm honest, guys. But let me see what do you guys honestly think about this? Let me see. Vertigo, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. I don't like the LBTQ name. It's unnecessary. Silence people, makes it easier to pick them up. Everyone should just be gay brackets happy. A scientific approach to trans people is the best way to do it. Here, the government has passed the issue to medics. They deal with it because, quoting a politician here, we are politicians. We are politicians and not doctors. Every citizen's rights and duties, and that is all that states care about, says Zhao. Imagine a government telling you that you can't collect Mother Nature's gift of water. Total madness, says Stephen Banker. Yeah. I think one of the big problems for the Green Party here and on the continent, half the same problems it seems. Too many ideologies and not enough pragmatics. So trying to be pagan. That's a very good point there. They do need to find They did say in there obviously they're reviewing the disciplinary proceedings on that as well. Again, the LGBT nonsense, all of this is a useless speech and over emotional gaslighting. It's easily solved by saying, who cares, what a waste of time. Who cares what other people just do as long as they are not breaking the law. Yeah, but they can't put it, I would say that she can't put it like that. I mean, it's very easy to say that's how they should put it across, but they can't really do it like that, unfortunately. And Scottish Greens have lost the plot, says Mark Wilkie. Yeah, Scottish Greens are very... We have to separate. The Green Party in England and Wales is not the same party in Scotland. Yes, they are affiliated with each other, but they are not the same party. I do have to stress that. Even though their policies do align with each other. The Greens should certainly not be blocking green energy projects, i.e. wind farms. I'm pretty sure I addressed that in a video on that. Yeah, I didn't agree with him with Adrian trying to argue that we should be looking at more policies and whatnot over it. Like saying, like, instead of pylons, why are we not looking at other options? And my argument is, like, the problem is that they cost more. It costs more to, like, because he didn't want pylons in his constituents. He said, why not set it up out in the O River around to the capital, or why not put it underground or anything? Well, the obvious answer is money. It all costs money. Money which, we don't have, unfortunately. So, yeah, there are, obviously, as I've said, there are things with the Greens that I do have issues with. QA Library, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. As I believe we will, that economic stability is the hallmark of Labour governments. There is no limit to what we can achieve, because with that stability comes investment. With investment comes growth. With growth comes prosperity. And as I said earlier, she's now betting the whole farm, as it were, on the symbolism of making a hugely unpopular cut to older people's income. Yeah. It's entirely possible they may introduce something at the budget next month as well for pensioners. It's entirely possible. They may introduce something there, possibly, with it. That's good to see you, buddy. Rachel Reeves has just told Labour MPs that the price of sticking with her controversial decision to end universal pension entitlement to the winter fuel shower payments if we show. Yeah. I'm sure, yeah, tomorrow's vote's going to be interesting. It's for sure. Labour needs to learn to do things with the cash flow. Estonia has a flat tax, and it is the same 20% for people and companies. Estonia is debt-free, and for the citizens, even dental care is free, says Vertigo. They even have one type of universal basic income. Yeah, I do want to do a universal basic income. If I'm honest, no, I know Max wants to do a universal. I haven't done a UBI one. I've done one very early on in my channel, guys, but the reason why I don't want to do one is I'm serious. I want to do one with a universal basic income live stream with Max Robespierre and with an expert. And my fault is myself, Max, Alex from Alex Political X, and a universal basic income expert on the Sunday roast, if possible. That's what I would like. So it's just a case of, and I'm sure if we get that expert, I will obviously want to throw my hat in the ring on that as well, because there is a lot. You know, even though I haven't covered UBI lately, guys, there is a lot out there on there. There's loads of trials, as well as you've just said there, Verti. There's lots of talk about it. Lots of reasons for it. There are lots of reasons against it as well. So it is one that I do feel like I want to have a good debate with about the positives and negatives of universal basic income. But I'm more for strong in favour of it, obviously. Guys, just before I go to the next piece, which is a very interesting one from the Telegraph. If you can financially support me, it'd be greatly appreciated, guys. So one of the best ways you can financially support me in the work that I do for this channel, and this channel is one of my main sources of income at the moment because I'm currently not working, is to join for YouTube membership for as little as 99p. It may not sound like a lot of money, but it really does make a massive difference. Being a YouTube member gets access to custom emojis, and whenever you comment on any of my videos, you always get a response. Whenever I do community membership posts, you get access to them as well. And I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who does so. Who is a member, it really does mean the world to me. It really does. It makes a massive difference. It keeps the channel alive and does keep it going. But if you're a $2.99 member, guys, and $2.99 is a lot of money to give, and I appreciate everyone who has done so, guys. If you do, you also get early access to some of my videos, and I have a very good nearly half an hour video dropping, I think, tomorrow, guys, on a very interesting report called the mental health inquiry, which will be it's a very fascinating one. If you want to watch that video tonight, if you are a $2.99 member, so you can watch that tonight as a member before it comes out. Then already I've got plenty of content for members if you want to see them before they come out to the public. So if you guys want to see any of them, simply just go onto the membership tab and you can see them if you are a $2.99 member. And I want to say thank you again to anyone who has done so. Just a reminder that my live streams are not monetized, so any super chats are also welcome as well if you want to give any super chats. If you can't financially support me, best way to do so, hitting the like, sharing, subscribing. If you want to buy me a coffee, you can also buy me a coffee. Link is in the description as well. And finally, if you want to, you can also join me on Patreon. Unlike some other people's Patreons where you pay in and you don't get anything on their Patreon apart from just supporting them, and it's always appreciated for anyone who's Patreon supporters. No, you actually gets lots of content on my Patreon. Even if you're not a paid member, guys, there's lots of content on there. You get free videos on there Monday to Friday. I tend to drop lots of additional videos on Patreon exclusively, guys. You can see that content for free, but you can also see additional content if you are a paid member on Patreon. So do check out the content. The link for all of that stuff is in the description. So thank you again, guys. Really appreciated. Sometimes I have really trouble swallowing. Oh, by the way, the gang is here. I'll just remind you, they are here. They are here, by the way. I just haven't had a chance to say hello to them. We'll catch up with them a bit later, guys. Anyway, so the next one I've got for you guys is... Let me make sure I've got this on the right thing. Yeah, so this one is from the Telegraph, like I said earlier. Interesting piece, to say the least. So HMRC has sacked 179 civil servants for gross misconduct. Dismissal hits a 5-year high as tax office cracks down on bad behaviour. So dismissals for gross misconduct at HM Revenue and Customs are at a 5-year high, data reveals. And so far this year, 179 tax office workers have been sacked for serious breaches of workplace conduct, an increase of 43% since 2020. And this is the highest number in at least 5 years, according to the figures obtained by the Telegraph in a Freedom of Information request. Stephen Moore, thank you so much for 10 New Zealand dollars, my friend. I appreciate your support. I really, really do. Thank you for that super chat. That is really, really, really helpful. So thank you. I really do appreciate that support. Yeah, this is I did before reading into this, guys, and covering this here. I did Google to look to see if there was anyone else covering this story. The Telegraph are the only ones covering this story. So I will say, because it is the Telegraph, I would take it with a slight pinch of salt. However, they are saying that they obtained this information in a Freedom of Information request as well. But at the same time, given what's happened over the last 14 years, with some of the antics, part of this does not surprise me as well. And there could be, and there has been things with civil servants as well. So it would not surprise me if there is a culture problem, not just with HMRC, but in other civil servant places as well. Gross misconduct is behaviour is so serious it can warrant instant dismissal. I don't know if that's fair, if I'm honest. Examples include bullying, theft, intoxication, damage to company property, gross negligence, or other behaviours that could harm the organisation. Now, what exactly would they be doing for damaging the company property, like literally throwing chairs and stuff around? I don't know if that'd be that extreme. But then again, I've never set foot in a HMRC office or a civil servant's office, so we don't know. At HMRC, it could include the unlawful disclosure of sensitive taxpayer information or fraud undertaken using the company's systems. So earlier this year, a tax office worker was jailed for 2 years and 4 months after abusing her role to defraud the taxpayer out of £300,000 in child benefit. Tracy Ashbridge falsely claimed that 3 of her children were disabled, and also submitted false tax credit claims for another 15 children. She used details from her work computer system of members of the public to facilitate some of the frauds. The 179 workers fired for gross misconduct in 2024 make up for half of all 321 dismissals at HMRC, which employs over 65,000 staff. But in 2020, only 28%, 125 of all dismissals, 441, were for gross misconduct. I'm generally curious if they gave a breakdown of what are some of the main, like, it says they're gross misconduct, like, what are the highest things, like if they could be a bit more specific, like what are some of the things that they have done that warrant their dismissals, for example. I'm generally curious to know what some of them are. You need to be put into context what percentage of employees are involved and what rates of misbehaviour in other departments, says Steve. Yeah, that is true. Given the vital role HMRC staff play in dealing with taxpayer data and collecting revenues for the government, cases of gross negligence can be represented in a serious issue, so it's important that appropriate action is taken where necessary. HMRC is to receive more funding to recruit additional staff, so it will be crucial that its support is in place to help staff with training recruits, so they appreciate the standards of conduct expected of them. Comes as customer service at the tax office is at an all-time low as it struggles to cope with rising taxpayer population. So this is obviously from the Freedom of Information request that they have. HMRC's abysmal performance. 1994, 1995 calls answers within 15 minutes, 95% target. 2022, 2023 calls answered within 10 minutes, 37.3%, no target set. So, unfortunately, this is, to be honest, if I'm absolutely honest, guys, I mean, this does not surprise me. I think I told you guys a while back where I need to call HMRC up about something, and it took me 20 minutes before I got 20 minutes, I think, or more, before I finally got to speak to someone. So, this does not surprise me at all. But yeah, 37.3%. If true, that is pretty bad. The taxman answers only 66% of customers' calls last year against a target of 85% and down from 71% in 2022-2023. Demands for its services have surged as taxpayers have been dragged into higher rates of tax due to frozen thresholds. At the start of the year, the Public Accounts Committee, an influential group of MPs, concluded HMRC services levels were at an all-time low after it received an unprecedented number of written submissions about the tax office poor performance. An HMRC spokesperson said that all large organisations will face occasional issues with staff behaviours, and we take all allegations seriously to ensure we work in an inclusive environment that is friendly, tolerant and respectful. All our employees must ensure they follow our code of conduct alongside the civil service code, which breaches looks into, if necessary, investigate, potentially result in dismissal. Yes, I don't argue that, but 179 does sound a lot. Now, maybe I do understand. Now, obviously, yes, like they said there is over 65,000 staff is a lot. But 170. Like, what is the why we got such a high number there? I would like to know what. Like, I really would like to know to break down the reasons for them, because 179 does sound like a lot. It does sound like a lot to me, but maybe I'm being a bit too harsh because it does have over 65,000 staff. I don't know. Obviously, we can. This is the best we can read with it. I don't know. Obviously, I can't speak for like other governments and whatnot. What their kind of numbers would be. We can only take what the value of what the Telegraph have got here. But I do think it would not surprise me if there was some merit to this as well. But yeah, you obviously, HMRC needs a huge amount of bodies, obviously, in order for it to conduct the work that it does. And I do think that, the work they do is extremely serious and very vitally important for the UK. But it does seem like a lot there. What are you guys saying in the chat on this? HMRC has had issues of working looking up staff and accessing information they did not need to access, says QA Library. The 99% were hit because they cheated. They got away with answering phone message. They got away with phone message answering the call. So they're trying to avoid answering the phone rather than actually dealing with people's issues. That's one. They do try to HMRC. Like a lot of things with government numbers, they do try to push you towards not having to answer the phone and just take you to an AI not an AI, but voice message and whatnot to try and reduce people having to go to speaking to someone. But just having that conversation with someone makes a world of difference. But mind you, though, every conversation I've had with HMRC, the people have been very, very nice. All the people that I have spoken to, I think it was one day I tried to get through, and I ended up went to one department, and I had to go to another department. In all three of those occasions, every person that I spoke to was very, very nice, very, very respectful. But obviously, not everyone had the same experience as I did, I'm sure. It works out about 0.3% of their staff. I'd say they would be the same in most workplaces, says Stephen Moore. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. I've half zero experience with the tax office, says one angry pagan. Wonder how many innocent people have suffered at the hands of these people. It would need to be put in. Yeah, I've just read that, haven't I? My better is really annoying now, says 30. Billy Kershaw, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, so we got one last story, guys, for you guys. I do have a funny video for you guys as well before we head out. But yeah, this one here is from Byline Times. Interesting and a concerning one, to say the least. We know that, so before I talk about this, obviously, we know that there has been institutional racism within the police. Excuse me. We know that there's been a fundamental issue, and it does have something that needs to be dealt with. But according to Byline Times here, Police Anti-Racism Initiative has been slammed for a shocking decision to hold back £1.8 million in funding. Black Police Chief says the shortfall shows why our members feel that things may have gotten worse over the last 4 years. So essentially, before we read into it, basically what essentially they're saying is that this funding here is obviously to help push for more diversity within the police force, and they're claiming that the money is being held back. This is apparently what the report is trying to say. Now, is this true? I don't know, is my straightforward answer. If I had to guess, I would say probably is, because one of my gripes has always been with the police force is that I've always said, and I've said this so many times about how much I have completely lost trust in the police. While there are times, obviously, I said during the UK when the riots happened, the Southport riots occurred, guys. I said exactly what I wanted to say about the police, and I thought that they handled it fantastically and professionally. But given how many stories that we hear about the police, the conduct that had been over the last several decades or so, it's very hard for people to have the faith in police forces in the way that not only the way they've conducted themselves, but even the stories we sometimes hear, the conduct that they have on each other. You remember there was a story? Do you remember the story I covered about the woman who had to strip down to her underwear? There was the I think this was the same woman that had one of the officers put their foot on the back of her neck while she was down on the ground or something, and it was just like to me, that video obviously that I covered blew up, but to me it was just like it didn't make any sense at the time. Just stories like that really does raise questions about the police and what they're doing. There are so many fundamental issues. Like I've said that for me, reforming the police is not going to work because they've tried it. They talk about they're going to improve things and whatnot, and it doesn't. I just don't see it. Now if under this Labour government we don't hear many issues with the police, like they're minimal. Like if the police are quiet and they continue to do a good job, then it shows that there are improvements. But I'm still very much on this position that, in my opinion, yes, it would cost a lot of money to do so, but I do think dismantling the current police force that we have, while building up a brand new police force, working in line with communities, working with local authorities, working with some other nations as well, with some experience from other police forces around the world, I think that would get some cooperation and some advice and whatnot and all that kind of stuff. I think that would be the better way. Dismantle the old police service while building up a brand new one, and install the training and the things that they need to make sure that they are following all these rules. That's always been for now. That has always been my position. So it's very hard for me to say here, we just reform the police service and it'll be fine. Police service, not police force. Police service, police force. It's whatever you. It's easier for me to say it like that. So our flagship police plan to combat racism within its ranks in England and Wales has failed to spend almost a third of its budget since its inception. In a revelation with the National Black Police Association, Brad is shocking, with campaigners labelling the shortfall beyond bewildering. So the Police Race Action Plan, the PRAP, was announced by the National Police Chief Council, NPCC, in 2020 amid concerns about the community relations in the wake of the murder of George Floyd. In May of that year, by Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, which ignited the Black Lives Matter movement worldwide. The plan described as the biggest coordinated effort ever across every police force in England and Wales to improve trust and confidence in policing among black communities. Black people are disproportionately represented to stop and search use of false and strip searches, and are more than twice as likely to be arrested as white people. In August, a report by the Child Commissioner revealed that black children are 4 times more likely to be strip searched than white children. The argument that they always have when it comes to black people being targeted more than white people, one of the big arguments that they try to keep to make is that, black people, they commit more crimes than white people. Statistically, yes, but it is still a form of racism in and of itself when black people are targeted more than white people. A statement about the anti-racism program on the NPCC website says policing is determined to become an anti-racist organisation that actively roots out bias and discrimination from our ranks. The plan has received funding top slice from police force budgets since 2021. An essential team was set up to lead its actions. According to figures released to Byline Times under the Official Information Act, the PRAP team was unable to spend about almost 1.8 million of the 6 million in funding it was allocated between 2021 and 2024. The amount left unspent more than doubled between 2021, 2022 and 2023, 2024. So this is what they have here. They don't. This is their own findings by Line Times because they don't have any other numbers here. The financial years for 2021, 2022, 2022, 2023, 2023, 2024. Their budget numbers. So you can see the budgets have increased, especially from 2021 to 2022. The amount of spending and variance there. Variance there. Interesting numbers, that's for sure. Dismantling the police force and building a new one has been done before, and it happened recently in the UK, Northern Ireland. Thanks for that, QI Library. The police themselves, that's the problem. For me, the idea of dismantling would be, well, it has to be. What my position would be in the case of is that you can't have these police officers transferring over to the new police force. And the only way to do that is you have to build them from scratch. You could have 1 or 2 experienced officers come over, but the vast majority would not be allowed to come over because of the issues that they have. I'm assuming that's what they had in Northern Ireland. The police themselves, that's the problem, says Stephen Banker. National Police Association, the MPPA president Andy George told this newspaper that the figures show that the strategy has not been taken seriously by police leaders. That does not surprise me. George said he was shocking that so much money has been handed back when there is so much work to be done. He added, it shows why there's been a lack of progress and why our members actually feel that things have gotten worse over the last 4 years. The plan was designed to improve the experiences of policing for black people, but we just haven't seen that happen. Gamer Jam on Twitch says, Conservatives says raising the minimum wage will destroy businesses. Our system party depends on paying many workers starving wages. Not exactly a plus for capitalism. Good to see you there, Gamer. I hope you're doing well. I don't accept this premise that it will destroy businesses. We need to improve the standards of living for people. People's living standards need to be improved, and you can't just allow people just to starve. You're literally it's literally going to get into a point of slave labor if they're not careful. People's standards need to be improved. We need to, workers need to get paid fairly. I know we have it's a very difficult situation that Labour have to deal with on that. In recent months, sorry guys, I do apologise. Obviously, I do know I have said my throat has not been well, as you guys know. So I do apologise when I keep stopping and starting like that. In recent months, the MPBA has suspended its support for the plan and called for those from a black, Asian and minority ethnic backgrounds not to join the Metropolitan Police. It accuses the London force of targeting the chair of the Met's Black Police Association with vexatious misconduct complaint. This newspaper has also recently highlighted the calls for an independent review into the Met's North Area Basic Command, which has been plagued by incidents of racism, and data showing black and ethnic minority ethnic Met employees are 4 times likely to quit due to harassment and bullying than their white colleagues. George said the return money could be used to help the MBPA support its members of fund researching disproportionately in stop and search police conduct system. The 2023 CASI review found black officers were 81% more likely to be disciplined than their white colleagues. I wouldn't use Northern Ireland as an example of better police force. Yeah, I agree, Casper. I agree. I 100% agree with that comment because obviously it's a very different. Northern Ireland is obviously a special situation given its history. Given the history there, obviously, yeah, it would have to. I would try and base it off. Sorry, I've been the lockets ran out on here. I do apologise. I would obviously say that try to base it off. Maybe try basing it off some European systems who have dismantled and replaced them if they have other European countries if possible. But yeah, I 100% agree with that, Casper, that we shouldn't base it off Northern Ireland. But we could take ideas from it as well. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm starting to die here. Ambrosio Johnson, a barrister who chairs the Independent Scrutiny and Oversight Board, which was set up by the MPCC to monitor the work of the Police Race Action Plan, said the situation is frustrating. One of the reasons that we were given for why certain things weren't being done was that the program didn't have the resources, but obviously there was quite significant underspend. There are lots of meaningful things that money could have been diverted to. Johnson said the plans have been run under a cumbersome structure, with those involved finding it difficult to use an initiative because they had to ward through several levels of bureaucracy to get action approved. This has resulted in situations like community engagement events being held in remote police training buildings, where attendees were required to be vetted before they were allowed in, she said. Dawn Butler, the Labour MP for Brent East, said she said she could write to MPC about the underspend revealed by this newspaper. She said it's a surprise that money hasn't been spent because obviously there's a need within the community. I can think of on top of my head at least half a dozen organisations that would be able to help, but I'd be more than happily to help the police ensure that they have a sustainable and worthwhile race action plan, she said. Geordie Bradshaw, policy advocacy lead at campaign group Stopwatch, said the latest report from the Independent Scrutiny and Oversight Board showed that even money that has been spent is not delivering. It does. A part of me feels like they're deliberate and intentional barriers trying to stop the fundamental changes that the fundamental changes and reforms that need to be done within the police. The part of that makes me feel like that there is too much intention of it. I wonder if they would ever install a black police commissioner. I wonder if that would ever happen in the UK. I do think it would happen, but I don't think we've ever had one. I'm pretty sure we haven't, but it would be a real game changer if they were to ever install one. From tick box consultation exercises to failing to record data on racial disproportionality in misconduct processes and suspicionless searches, it is difficult to believe that this time of money has been put to good use. If the Children's Commissioner report on the strip searching of children is a limitless test for the progress made, then it paints an even more dismissal picture of how black children are 4 times more likely to be subject to strip searches by adults in uniform. One of the stories that I never forgot about was the one they did to some schoolgirls at a school, which was absolutely disgusting, and they did it without the consensus of the parents. The police did, which was absolutely atrocious. I can't remember off the top of my head what the story was, but it was completely out of order to have strip searched them. These were schoolgirls as well. The ad is setting a lofty goal of tackling disparities affecting black people at police hands. The persistent over-policing of black communities and disproportionate use of force and police powers wielded against them does not bode well for the police race action plan success story. While discriminatory outcomes persist, it is beyond bewildering that the College of Policing and the National Police Chief Council were unable to work out where best to put the outstanding $1.8 million of their budget. An MPCC spokesperson said that a significant part of the underspend was due to unfilled staff vacancies on the central team. That's the one that Regan. Is that the story I just made? Yeah. Don't make your throat any worse. Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna take something before I go to bed. Don't you worry. I'll be fine. Don't worry. An MPP spokesperson, was unsuspended. Yeah, I've read that already. Minutes of discussions held by chief constables in the summer and autumn of 2023, seen by this newspaper, showed that there were 10 vacant positions on the team in September, a situation described as concerning, and that the program had been losing people due to annual contracts where there is no stability or career progression. George said every person from a black and Asian background that had spoken to or who worked on the program had a negative experience. Temporarily, Deputy Assistant Commissioner Alison Hydry took over as Programme Director of the plan in September 23, and a recent report by the Independent Oversight and Scrutiny Board said aspects of this work had since improved. She has said she wants to make sure everyone on the team feels supported by their work. MPCC spokesperson told Byline Times that the central team now has only 2 vacancies out of the core team of 19. The plan has a £1.9 million budget this year. However, the future of funding beyond April 2025 is uncertain. And there's lots of people saying Labour are going to impose some kind of austerity, aren't they? Central money was committed to work the 5-year period when it was set up, and no agreement has been reached beyond that. How do you know colleagues are currently drawing up a case to present to chief constables for renewable funding? Johnson has called for the Home Office to take charge of the direction of the plan and to fund its work. The previous Conservative government did not take any steps to actively support the programme or fund it. Of course not. Why would the Conservatives do that? We're talking about the Conservatives here. Last week, chairs of local PA groups voted to continue their suspension of support for the plan. In a survey, 93% said it had not helped improve the experience of black people in policing, and the same proportion did not think it had created a foundation in the future. Excuse me. George said over hostility is rife and policing has regressed back to the 80s or 90s. We're not getting the N word or the P word in the same way, but we're getting lots of pushback to efforts to improve black people's experiences, he said. Chief Constable Gavin Stevens, chair of the MPCC and senior responsible officer for the PRAP, said the plans to address generational issues identify many problems critical of policing and that progress have been made. Everyone involved in the plan wants to make quicker and more widespread progress, but there have been positive sides of recent improvements, he told Byline Times. Stevens, who was in January became the most senior service leader, said that policing is institutionally racist. Said that the plan is nearly as its full quota of staff set to spend practical all its budget this year, and one of several areas of improvement in its management and delivering have seen over the past year under new leadership. Progress has been acknowledged by external partners of the plans too, such as our Independent Scrutiny and Oversight Board, he added. New documents outlining what the plan stands for and suggestions for what individual forces can do in those aims are due to be published later this year. And the Home Office spokesperson did not respond directly to questions about potential future involvements of funding or police race action plan, but said racism has no place in policing and forces must reflect the diverse communities they serve. This new government is committed to working with police and police staff to achieve a diverse workforce. I mean, yeah, of course the Home Office would say that, of course. But I do think there is major issues still. It's very frustrating. It's very frustrating, indeed. I don't know if the thing is that if they got the funding, if there wasn't this holdback, is the funding really going to make, is the funding going to force the change that needs to be changed within the police force? That's a question. Because, because you guys know as well as I do that you can't always solve everything by just throwing money at the problems. I'd like to think that, they get the money and that things get better. But I don't always think it's always the case of just throwing money at all these problems as well. Johnson can fling do one, says one angry pagan. It emerged that Labour had warned in 2017 that Theresa May's manifesto pledged to make the same cuts that would cause 3,850 excessive deaths. What changed since the analysis? Has there been a new one, says Curie Library? It's a very good question. Police need to go 4 years in school, says 30. Well, if you put them back in school, you've got no one to run the streets and protect us from the criminals. So, yeah. 24-hour sun and someone's 24-hour sun and someone sleeps, says 30. I think it is not a question of having more diverse police, but just a better police merit and not quotas, or is much more guidance governments. That's a valid point as well from Jal there. Yeah, I do think is the training? I guess the question is also, is the training sufficient? Is the independent bodies that they need to go to, like when there are complaints and issues, are all these things being? Are the bodies that when people join the police force, especially if you're an ethnic or black background, are there bodies in that to ensure that you, can go to the people you need to go to, respond where you need to do, and and those bodies that they're responding to, are they dealing with these people's issues, officers' issues, whenever there's issues around them? Are the systems in place within the police force making those differences? And I think the answer we can say is no, because based on the history, and it's been confirmed it's institutionally racist. So clearly what they are doing is not working. Otherwise we would not be continuously having a conversation about our police force and the issues that they have. There are times the police does a great job. I'm not going to, what they had, the way they conducted and handled themselves in the UK riots, I thought was absolutely bang on. There have been times they've handled themselves very professionally in certain protests. Other protests, not so much. You know, the Sarah Everard eulogy, the way they handled that situation was extremely poor. There have been times where they've handled themselves very well, and there have been times they've handled themselves more badly. Unfortunately, when it comes to media, you hear more about the bad than you do hear about the good. So I do think that's an important point to make as well. QA Library said, because I was working in Stormont Law, the library, the library team was asked to help in rebranding the RUC to Police Service of Northern Ireland when it changed the image, logo and colours, etc. Interesting, thanks for that. I hear in Finland there is much respect for the indomitable badger, says one angry pagan. You're trying to migrate badgers to Finland there. Depending what union you ask, 200,000 to 800 civilian police jobs have been cut over 14 years of the past government, says the QA Library. Yeah, that is absolutely true. Tories took on people who initially were found unsuitable, says Billy Kershaw. When I interact with a cop here, whatever colour he or she is, I expect the same compliance and behaviour. Yeah, you expect them all to be the same. But that's the problem. They're not all the same here in the UK. That's the problem. You could have a really, really nice officer. You could have a really, really good officer. You could have some, like, we know they're human beings and whatnot, but I've seen people, but some of the, like, I'll give one last example before I go to the funny video. You guys remember the case in Manchester about the police officer that kicked the guy in the head? I'm pretty sure it was the Manchester airport, where the officers were attacked by these people. They were attacked by these three people before they chased after them, got back at them, because we didn't see the full context, right? And even after all that, like, for me, I still stood by my position where I thought the officer that kicked the guy in the head because he was down and had been tasered was still bang out of order, because he allowed these emotions to get the better of him. And I can absolutely tell you, because of who I am, I would let my emotions get the better of me. But because he's a police officer, an officer of the law, and because everyone is watching what police officers do, he should not have he should not have responded in the way he did. So there we go. No, I've seen Mac. Good night. Thanks for popping by. Appreciate it. So, guys, got one last video before we wrap things up, guys. So I hope you guys enjoy this funny video I've got from Matt Green. Some of you guys may have already seen this one. Some of you may have not. But I hope you guys enjoy this little funny video, guys, from him. Really, really like this one. So I hope you enjoy.
I think there should be a new rule. For every new rule you introduce, you have to delete 2 old rules. Why did you do that? Well, you introduced the new rule, so I deleted the rules that you shouldn't punch or kick people. I didn't mean like that. What did you mean? We need to get rid of red tape. Regulations. Yes, all of these stupid regulations holding businesses back. Cool, so what? Health and safety? Yes, we're all adults. We can use our common sense. Are children adults? Well, their parents can use their common sense. Cool, so say there were 2 buildings, yeah? And one of them was built with substandard materials, and the other one wasn't, but you can't really tell from the outside. Which one do you move into? You let the market decide. What? The badly built building will collapse, and then people will know not to go in buildings like that again. Buildings that look the same as other buildings. Buyer beware. What if that building was social housing? Well, then the council has a responsibility to check it's safe. How? What do you mean? Well, if there's no, as you call it, red tape, how do they measure how safe it is? Look, the point is, it's basic common sense that builders don't want to build dangerous buildings. You know? Putting people in danger is bad for business. Only if they get caught, and if people have a choice. Well, that's life. Or sometimes, death. So you're saying that all regulations are good? No, but I think that regulations are a bit like tax. Nobody ever makes the positive case for them, but every time they're cut, vulnerable people suffer. Well, I mean, tax is basically stealing. Or it's the price you pay for living in a society. You must be fun at parties. Not really, but I've also never maimed someone. That was one time.
Oh, God, I love Matt Green. I'm glad that he's still doing the odd videos here and there. But that was a really good one. Hope you guys enjoyed that one from Matt Green there. So guys, just a reminder before I head out, tomorrow I'll be doing a Snowflake Corner live stream. Will be at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. So different time slot, obviously, but if you guys can come along, we greatly appreciate it. If you guys can't make it, you're stuck at work, that's totally fine as well. But maybe some of you might have the day off, saying you've got nothing else planned. So if you want to come and hang out with me, you're more than welcome to do so. I don't know if it's a permanent time slot or not. I'll just see how it goes. We're covering some news from outside the UK, so do feel free to come and hang out if you can do as well. That'll be 1 p.m. reminder. I may move one of my videos that's normal scheduled tomorrow just to shift it. There'll be no live stream Tuesday evening, but obviously if you guys want to watch Geoscopes, for example, or with Politics Social, and then obviously Max's live stream later on, you can do that without any issues. Wednesday, of course, we have Prime Minister's Questions, and then Snowflake Watch. We'll be probably looking more at the debate between Trump and Kamala Harris that Wednesday night more than anything. Thursday, of course, I will have the Snowflake Talks with Terry Regan. Do come and join me for that. Friday will be, I am planning to do a live stream at 6 o'clock. I think it was 6 o'clock with the Snowflake conflict. We'll be looking at Gaza, Ukraine, and whatnot as well on there, guys. So plenty of content to come this week, guys. So much to talk about. But guys, I hope you guys enjoyed some of the... Enjoy's not the right word, but I hope you guys found what happened to what we covered today informative and helpful for you guys. I want to say a massive thank you to Stephen Moore again for that 10 New Zealand dollars. It is greatly appreciated. You know, any super chats and memberships and all that kind of stuff really does make a massive difference. So thank you so much for that. Thank you guys for all coming along. Thank you guys for all your comments. It is greatly appreciated. And hopefully I will catch you guys tomorrow. If I don't catch you tomorrow, hopefully I'll catch you Wednesday. And if I don't catch you then, hopefully I'll catch you in some other live streams. But until then, guys, have a great week. And before I head out, if you haven't already, please hit the like button. As Ollie would say, share it across social media as well. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.